Thank you for joining us for our monthly webinar series from Local Market Monitor, where we take a closer look at this month's National Economic Outlook, which was written by Local Market Monitor's founder, Ingo Windsor. For those of you that don't know Ingo, he has been analyzing real estate markets for over 30 years and is a graduate of MIT and Boston University. He is not your typical economist and has a knack for taking complex data, extracting what is important, and providing unique insights and tangible guidance on real estate markets. So with that, I bring you Ingo and his insights on the economy.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. Every month, we look at the latest economic data to see what they can tell us about real estate markets, where they are now, and where they may be headed. Our underlying premise is that you make better investment decisions when you have a better idea of the economic forces that affect supply and demand. Two of those economic forces are a bit baffling right now. What is the actual health of the economy, and what will happen this year with home prices? Here's a picture of home prices over the past couple of years. Data for the fourth quarter of 2023 show that even though the boom in home prices is over, there is so far little sign of a subsequent bust. In this chart, we see the increase in home prices every quarter compared to the same quarter of the previous year. At the peak of the boom, prices rose at a 20% annual rate. In the last few quarters, that's dropped to about 5%. These are the averages for the country. In some markets like Tampa, the local picture is just like the average. But in others, especially in Western states, the picture is more worrisome. In Phoenix, for example, home prices have stalled out. In Austin, they've actually fallen. In both Phoenix and Austin, population growth remains high, and the local economy is doing well. So there isn't a lack of demand for housing, but we seem to be seeing the start of a bust. And what we're worried about is this. This is a picture of home prices in the Cape Coral Fort Myers market during the mid-2000s. A boom happened with prices sometimes rising 30%, followed by a bust that lasted years. The size of that bust is unlikely to happen again, but a major adjustment of prices to realign with local incomes is a strong possibility. Overall today, the real estate market has been cooling. Here's a picture of purchase mortgage originations in the first quarter of each year since 2005. Just look at the last 3 years. We can see the surge in 2021 and 2022 and a sharp fall off in 2023, partly due to higher mortgage rates and partly to the fact that prices for homes are now so high that few people can afford to buy them. That's how all booms end, with unaffordability. And afterwards, there's always a readjustment process. Well, so what? If home prices come down, that should be a good thing. More people will be able to afford a home. In the long run, that's good, yes. But we saw during the last bust and in other boom-bust cycles that when home prices go down, homeowners cut back their spending. And since homeowners are 65% of the population, that can have a sharp negative effect on the economy. So let's have a look at that economy as a whole. Here's a picture of the growth of jobs in the United States every month since the beginning of 2022, compared to the same month of the previous year. We see the recovery from the recession and then a slowing of the growth rate to about 2% right now. 2% is normally a strong rate of growth and suggests that slower spending, if home prices do come down, won't hurt the economy very much. But there are reasons to worry that the apparent rate of growth right now may not be sustainable very long. A look at the various sectors of the economy reveals some of these weaknesses. The growth of jobs in construction looks fine, 4% a year. But home builders have been shedding jobs since early 2023. The retail sector isn't adding new jobs. The finance sector has added some, but not many. Restaurants are adding jobs at a slower and slower pace. The big healthcare sector is adding jobs at a very high rate, more than 4%. In normal times, the growth rate there is about 2%. But much of that growth is due to a one-time restocking at nursing homes. The big government sector also is adding jobs at an unusually high rate. Normal growth in this sector is less than 1%. And the reason is a one-time restocking by state governments, which includes state universities and colleges. Finally, the growth of jobs in the very big business services sector has fallen below 1%. One reason is that businesses have been shedding temporary contract workers since the beginning of 2023 at a very high rate. What these details suggest to me is that unsustainable growth during the rest of 2024 is actually closer to 1% than to 2%, a level where any new shock to the system, such as slower consumer spending, could bring back a recession. That's it. In this time of uncertainty, it's important for bankers and investors to stay on top of local economic and real estate developments. Local Market Monitor provides the data and analysis they need with local market reports and investors' metro analysis. Thanks very much for following along. This is our National Economic Outlook. I'm Ingo Windsor.